Hello, you're listening to I Can't Remember Shit, and I'm your host, Evan Barton. This is a memory podcast where each week a guest and I interrogate our own minds to uncover what's hidden in our memory banks. I've always wondered why I struggled with remembering things, and in this podcast, me and my guests take one topic to discuss our favorite and least favorite memories related to that topic. On this episode, I have the very special Lucy Stevens.
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
Yes, this is going to be so fun. We are just going to jump right into our first segment that kind of allows for Lucy and I to get to know each other and remember some things about each other. But I first want to just point out that Lucy is behind our beautiful artwork for this season.
Yes, it was really fun making it. I love drawing and doing digital stuff, so kind of just gave me creative freedom and did what I want, and it was really fun. So.
Yeah, I think you rocked it out of the park. I told you I want a memory podcast, I have a memory podcast. I want these are some words. There were lots of words I threw at you.
Yeah. It's let me write down this list of things to go off of. So
literally, and you rocked and rolled with it. I'm so excited to release episodes and start seeing how it turns out and everything.
I think it's gonna look really nice.
I do too. I trust the graphic designer behind the process.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So let us reminisce really quickly, kind of on our first memories of each other. I'm so curious what you remember about me, first of all. I will tee it up with that way that we met is through my lovely roommate, Naomi, roommate and bestie, and lifelong friend.
Literally.
She's amazing. Shout out to Naomi. She's gonna be editing, so she's gonna smile when she sees this.
She's gonna be smiling the whole time because I'm here. So
we're two of her favorite people. Hopefully, I'm included in that. For real in the world, and she's such an amazing person. And I finally convinced her to move in with me last year, and now we've been living together in Tulsa for a while. And literally within a week of her moving here, she met Lucy.
Yeah. So I'm Naomi's girlfriend, and we met November, I want to say 13th when we first started talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that she had just moved here, and so until we went on our first date. And then I think I ended up meeting you beginning of December or something, because I came over and we did a puzzle. We were all doing a puzzle on the couch. The puzzle that never got finished.
That was the hardest puzzle I've ever done.
Yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, I mean, I was so nervous to come over to the house and meet everybody. I don't think I met Caroline that night, but yeah, it was fun.
I feel that sounds right, because I remember hearing, oh my gosh, I'm going on a date with this girl, and then oh my gosh, I went on a date with this girl, the whole thing. And then I think that the second date was when you guys went to look at Christmas lights or something, and Naomi had made hot chocolate, and then you guys came back to the house after that.
I don't think we did the puzzle that same day.
Yeah.
Because I know after we looked at Christmas lights, we came back and just watched TV in her room. We didn't. But that might have been the first time that I met you.
Because I was watching. You're good. I was watching the Wednesday.
Yeah. Yes. And then the next time I came over is when we all did the puzzle.
Yes. Okay. I was gonna say. I feel like I remember.
But it was just a quick hi, nice to meet you. Yeah. And then we went into the room.
Back to the room.
Literally.
Which was so funny, because my memory of the whole watching Wednesday was I was in a low place in my life. I know it's bad. I think I don't know if I've talked about it probably IRL and not on this podcast, but late 2022, it was kind of triggered by my 25th birthday. Just hit a really tough period in life.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily. I think upon reflection, the main thing that was maybe bogging me down or whatever was just existential dread.
Yeah, understandable.
It's hard. And I think 25 is that year, that foundational year where you can take a look at what you've done for 25 years. So if you take the whole thing into scale, it's okay, well, I have 25 more, hopefully. And then also, am I happy with where I'm at type of thing? That was something. And then anxiety, baby, just makes all that worse. And so I think at that time I was just really dysregulated with eating and all these things that, to this day, I'm these are challenges.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when I was like first getting to know you, like I was like really intimidated by you just because like in my like head when I first met you, I was like, oh my gosh, like he's like a little professional. He loves talking. He puts himself out there, which I do not. Like, this is the most I put myself out there
yes!
in a long ass time. And so I was like kind of like nervous to like talk to you and stuff. But it's been almost a year, and I'm used to it now. So.
You saw my shenanigans. Literally. No, I think we always are like excited when we hear that Lucy's coming over to the house. And I say we, me and Caroline, because it's like we're kind of a collective unit sometimes.
I know, like Naomi, she's like, they love you, and I'm like, but why? But
well, America's gonna fall in love with you, Lucy.
Thank you. No, this is literally like the beginning of my career. So
this is the beginning, literally. No, I love that we have like such I mean like in terms of like that story of like us meeting each other, we were both going through different things, and like you kind of in a way of like going through like a date scenario that like ended up becoming what it is now, which is like almost a year of dating.
I know, literally. Which I'm like feels like a lifetime in those gay years. So
no, literally. But that's so exciting. I think like we're super glad to have you in our life and in our Tulsa like world, because Tulsa is like it's my home. Been here for a really long time. I talk about this on my other podcasts all the time. Like Tulsa is just such a cool place, and I want to meet more people in Tulsa. Like that is kind of like why I put myself out there.
I'm like every time we go somewhere with you, you know everyone, and I genuinely want to do a drinking game sometime where like we just are shit faced by the end of it, because there's not a person that you don't know.
Okay, and what is so funny is last night I was out and got stopped by like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
So crazy, because one was from elementary school back in Muskogee, like some guy that like I remember he and I like he used to live right across the street from the elementary school that I went to, and he had a Pokemon game that I played, and it was just silly, and I was like, that's you, right? And it was funny when we saw each other. I saw him looking at me first. I was like, I think he knows who I am. I just like have not like immediately clocked him. And then later it was middle school friends. I'm like,
that is so silly.
In one night.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna continue to be a social butterfly at this point. Like, what else do we have to lose? Put ourselves out there, literally. Meet some people.
I mean, this past year, I feel like it's been like one of my favorite years so far. Like, so much has happened. So, and like meeting you guys and all your friends and stuff has definitely pushed me to be. I'm still a little bit, like not liking to do things, but all the activities that you guys host, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll participate.
Make sure I'm included. Make sure I'm on the invite.
I'm like game night a couple nights ago. I was like, why wasn't I invited? And then like she was like, I didn't think about it. And I was like, I don't know if I would have gone, but
after you heard about all the shenanigans,
I was like, must have been included.
You might have calmed the storm, honestly. I just you never know with that group.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so excited. We're gonna dive into our topic for the day.
Okay.
Lucy has been patiently awaiting the reveal of this all day. And
yeah, I'm kind of nervous because I'm not really the best at coming up with things off the top of my head, but
I have a feeling you're gonna have a lot to say about this topic.
Okay, period.
I filtered it through my sources. They came back. Right. My people talked to your people.
Okay.
And our people being the same people. I talked to one person.
No. Yeah.
But I'm excited. We're going to jump into our memory banks to talk about our favorite and our least favorite memories related to a topic that's pretty dear to my heart, and I'm assuming yours. But we're going to talk about the early days of YouTube and our reactions, important moments, like things that we were all kids when this platform started.
Yeah.
And I think that it was like the first time you got to like experience other people's lives, separate from yours. And
yeah, like watching TV without actually watching TV.
Literally. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? I'm watching YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it became its own thing so quickly.
Were like, okay, I don't know what this phase is. But
literally.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to guide our conversation just a little bit, like for me, I like aged out of early YouTube, or early YouTube like ended probably around like the 2014 mark.
Okay.
So the platform at that point I think was 8 years old, which is crazy. But I'm thinking, and for both of us, like when we were definitely adolescents at this time, because if I'm clocking my age on this, 2006, I was 9 years old, and 2014, I was 16 years old. 9 to 16.
Yeah.
Formative years.
And in 2006, I was 6. And in 2014, I was 14.
So yeah, I think we were definitely influenceable. Definitely out there watching things we might not have.
Might
not needed
There's
to.
several things that are popping into my head. So
let's do it. Let's dive right in. I do also we can kind of prime it with our first memory. Do you remember your first ever YouTube video that you ever watched?
No, I honestly don't. But I watch all the popular stuff like Fred, Annoying Orange, all of that.
Yeah.
stuff. But I feel like once I don't even know at what point I went to the weird side of YouTube. But what was it, Charlie the Unicorn?
Yes, those were part of my first ones. Yes,
and Salad Fingers and
Okay, I watched Salad Fingers as an adult, and that shit is so scary.
Yeah,
I can't.
It was a lot. And what was the other one with the little rodents Happy Tree Friends? Did
yes.
You watch that?
Okay. Though that was also a
I think they made
TV
a Netflix
show.
TV show afterwards or something like that.
And those make me sick.
Yeah.
It's the type of animated violence that I'm
Yeah, and I was a literal elementary school kid watching these things for fun.
Literally.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think what was so characteristic of this time too is there were so many sound bites, there were so many voices, because I think it allowed for a lot of people to do voice work. Fred,
yeah.
Does he have a high pitched voice?
No, I still watch him today. He has his own thing. His name's Lucas Crookshank, I think is his last name.
Wow, what
and
a name.
he just does random content now, but not Fred related.
Not Fred voice.
Yeah,
the Fred persona has been shed.
It's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. My first YouTube video, I think had to have been the shoes video.
Classic.
Shoes.
Classic. Yep, that's a good one.
Oh my god, shoes.
Yeah.
These should suck.
Yeah.
So that is Liam Skelly Sullivan is his name. And I think I watched the shoes video and then the muffins video, which was iconic 2006 grainy video quality, maybe filmed on one of those flip camera phones, because I don't even think iPhones were invented by this point.
I'm I don't even know when that first iPhone came out.
Literally, because I didn't get one. I didn't get a phone until I don't know, maybe age 12 or something. And I think me and my brother shared a phone for a really long time, which is such a silly concept.
Yeah, I got my first the slidey phone.
Yes, we love a slidey phone.
Yeah, when I was in 5th grade, and my only reason that my mom let me get it because I had to go to North Carolina to visit my dad. But I was just obsessed with sliding it up and down. I felt so.
It was a fidget.
I literally, I was don't mind me and my slidey phone.
I love that. So let's get out our slidey phones and think about what our favorite YouTube memories, favorite memories are related to early days of YouTube. Okay. And I would be more than happy for you to go first as my honored and distinguished guest.
So I don't really know about I guess this would be early days. So Good Mythical Morning, I still watch Good Mythical Morning to this day. And I don't know when I first started watching them. I want to say I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade. And I have watched them every day since. They are literally my highlight of the week.
Mm-hmm.
They're
your Good Mythical Morning.
They are my Good Mythical Morning. I'm Red just turned 46 2 days ago, and I'm
he looks so young.
I know, they both look really good, and
wow.
I'm just are you guys how much longer do I have you guys here until you give it up and do something else? But yeah, they're just, I think that's probably my favorite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you've definitely put me onto them at this point in your time over at the house, and I think they are such an interesting concept. I don't know how the concept has evolved over time, but the way they're produced now is really, really, it's kind of sketch comedy and they're both good at improv because they're both funny.
Yeah.
Daringly handsome, of course. Link's got that little silver fox moment
which you
going
love.
on. I'm into. I think we both have actively thirsted over them together.
Yeah, definitely has been a discussion multiple times.
But as a child, that might not have necessarily been your first association.
Wasn't my thought at all until like
you're of age, and it's like okay,
yeah. But yeah, no, I think they started in like Rhett's garage, just like recording themselves making videos, and then. Well, I think like their lore is deeper than that, but that's how like Good Mythical Morning started. Mm-hmm. And now they have like a team of over like 100 people.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So they're
small business.
They're thriving, literally.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting. You can definitely use those folks as like a case study of like how lots of YouTube like has like created longevity for people, because like now there are people that have been online for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like I mean that platform is actually like 18 years old since 2006. Is that right? Are we doing math right? 17 years old. 17 years old, which is insane to think about. Like if you were a kid that started on, like Fred, for instance, like literally a child on YouTube. There was an early YouTuber that I used to watch, I think in middle school, called Lohanthony. Yeah. I think what was so gaggy about this was like, he was like a young gay kid. I was a young gay kid.
Have you like heard like the most recent Lohanthony?
There's drama, of course. Dish.
Oh, you haven't heard?
No, he's not someone I ever kept up with.
That's actually crazy. So I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago now. He came back and he was like he was like sent to conversion therapy and was like being like literally full out like being gay is a sin. No. I don't align with that anymore. And like Tyler Oakley like went after him and was like you were being toxic for like posting this to like what was your biggest audience because you were like an openly gay figure. And
yeah.
It was kind of crazy, but I don't know. That was like a while ago, so I don't know where they're at now. But
that is crazy. I think that YouTubers are like a very good example of like cancel culture's like origins in so many ways. Like something that I think has started with the YouTube community, that a community that has like kind of been pervasive, like now to like Hollywood and things like that, or academia in a lot of ways. Like canceling comes from like YouTubers getting their shit found out about, like any of their predatory behavior, any of the way that they've interacted with fans that's been bad, exposed by their audience, and then like online chaos essentially from that. And that's so crazy. Good Mythical Morning, though, they are controversy free.
Let's hope it stays that way. Please and thank you. Literally.
Has your favorites have survived many a wave of cancellation?
Yeah. I mean, except for Colleen, but.
I'm happy to put a little bit of my thoughts on the whole Colleen Ballinger thing out there. Yeah, she's crazy.
yeah. No, it's a lot, but I don't know. I've been like, when the whole thing came out, I wasn't really like. I wasn't still actively watching her. Like I was a big like Miranda Sings fan. Like when I was in middle school.
See, never was. I think the first time I heard of her was when we first got Netflix, and Haters Back Off was like one of the earliest shows on there. Yeah, that was the only time I'd heard about her.
When I was in middle school, I want to say like 7th grade. Me and like my best friend Jose, my parents drove us to Seattle, and we went to the Miranda Sings show, dressed up as Miranda, lipstick and all, and we were just like. Having like it was everything. Like we had so much fun. And then like I don't know, I kind of just like stopped watching her. I think after she divorced Josh, I think is when I was just like, I think I'm over it.
I liked her with him.
Yeah. And then,
I don't know how they were.
Well, yeah, I don't really remember their like lives,
falling out and stuff.
Then Haters Back Off came out, and I was like, this is so good, like obsessed. And then it got canceled, and I was like, okay, well, I'm done again. So. But yeah, no.
We've been hot and cold with her.
Since this whole drama came out, I've been watching Ethan's like H3 podcast about it, and I'm like, wait.
The exposés, the multiple-hour video essays diving into everything.
I have watched all of them.
It's so interesting. But he's a streamer. Would you say would you classify H3 more as a streamer?
I'd say so, because I mean they go live, and that's like most of their podcasts are produced live.
Okay. So. And like same with Hassan, like too, right?
I don't watch Hassan.
Okay.
Not really my. Whenever they do videos together, I don't watch those. Yeah.
So it's been so interesting to see people that I love, like their YouTube journeys evolve too.
Yeah.
Because like Naomi is the one who like put me on to any of the Colleen stuff.
Yeah.
And then the drama happened. We're like,
Yeah.
Gag.
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, this is her, like, this is her Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah.
Like, she watches them every day.
And more than just like one family.
No, she watches like the whole family, and like if we're talking in the living room, she'll like pause it and rewind it. Literally,
that was jarring.
Crazy.
That was jarring. Naomi's like cringing listening to this as she's editing it, but I had to be like, for real, girl.
I'm like,
but now I'm like, go off, queen. It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
That is so funny. So Good Mythical Morning. I love that they have been a mainstay, and you're all the way from, you said, 3rd grade. I mean, that's a true mainstay.
Because I remember, like, so me and my other friend Bishan, which we're like still besties to now, but I want to say we met around like 3rd or 4th grade, something like that, and I would always go over to his house. And we'd like prop open his laptop on his bed in his bedroom, and we would just watch Good Mythical Morning and
grab some popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably like, I don't know, like playing Legos or something, like I don't know, but
literally,
yeah, and just like watch either like random YouTube videos or like the Good Mythical Morning of the morning type thing. Yeah. So yeah,
which is so, I love that. That's so sweet. I think my favorite videos, a series of them today, are like when they do the food reviews, which like feels like most of their content.
I was gonna say,
right?
they've like come to the realization that them eating food gets the most views, and so in my opinion, it has unfortunately become like their like four out of the 5 days a week, it's them eating something. Yeah. But I mean, they're just like so entertaining.
It's well produced in the sense that like you're getting international foods, you're getting rankings of foods that like you wouldn't necessarily have the ability to all try at the same time.
And they just released a pre-order for their cookbook of like dishes that they've like come up with and made throughout, I think, like since the beginning or something. So
I love that.
Like, I might buy it, might not. We'll kind of have to see what the dishes are.
That's your Claire Sappets, like Naomi has.
Literally, yeah.
More YouTubers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, I'm gonna share with you mine. I get a little bit of a head start of like thinking about this. And it popped up immediately for me, like what my favorite memories are related to like early YouTube. So what's so funny is I'm going to give my brother Ethan some credit here on putting me onto some stuff. We actually had a really funny conversation last night where my sister was like dragging me for acting like I discovered Pokemon by myself. Because she was like, well, you know who like showed us Pokemon, right? It was Ethan. He was the OG. He was older than you. Like, why are you acting like he didn't show? And I'm sitting over here like, well, I'm the one that like kept playing it forever. Like I have my. But she was just like, no, he put you onto it. It was his idea, and you should give him credit. And I was like,
oh my gosh,
Jesus Christ,
siblings don't deserve credit.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm giving it to him now, and he actually does deserve it for this because I think this was one of those sibling things where you're like, what you doing? Like, you know, to your siblings, like checking out what they're doing on whatever they're doing. And my brother was either on the computer or I don't remember. It must, because maybe we had iPod touches. I think that was like something we had as a kid. I know I had iPod touches like at least 3 or 4 generations. Probably got the silverback one. I think mine was blue at one point. But you could get apps on there and you could get YouTube. That was when YouTube looked like the little retro TV screen instead of like now the very iconic player. And he was watching a YouTuber by the name of Chugga Conroy do Pokemon. I think it was Pokemon Let's Play. So this is like my first introduction to like the Let's Play community in early YouTube. And basically like Let's Plays are just where you watch someone play a video game like start to finish and whatever way they want to complete it. They either like, some people go for like full 100% playthroughs, some people go for challenge runs, some people are like just sharing with you like a game that they love and like, you know, voicing over it, whatever. And I think the video that I was watching of him was Chugga Conroy playing The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which is like so fun because it's a game I had played as a kid. And Nintendo GameCube, which was like one of my first consoles as a kid too. But yeah, I think the whole like early YouTube part about it is like they basically like you can still go back and look at those videos like in their original form. And like now especially like Chugga Conroy stuff, like he's like gone back and redone like some of those older ones and like gave it like a facelift from like the early days, because he's been on YouTube since he was 16.
Okay.
He started those videos at age like 16 when he lived in Arizona, and then like now he's like an adult and lives in Florida, I think, or Georgia maybe. Not me doxing him. But you want to know what they're doing, or like you kind of like form this parasocial relationship with these people because like you listen to their voice constantly, like on a daily or whatever. But yeah, I think like early YouTube for me was like filled with like, I would say, people like my love of video games being like shared by other people. That like has stayed with me to this day. Like I don't know, something about like being recently, it was like earlier this year when I was like bored, and like trying to find something to listen to, something to be my background noise. I'm a big, like, I can do multiple things at once, and like you've probably seen me like literally do like 3 or 4 things at once.
Have the iPad in your lap, the controller in your hand, and the AirPod in your ear, like literally just
and like maybe snacking on something.
A vape in the other hand, like
or having just smoked, which is so silly. I can do it all. I contain multitudes. Like what's my background noise? And like recently it's been like those Let's Play videos again. And I think what's so fun about it is like the nostalgia is real, like, trying to like bring back those memories, if you will, like specifically about like how a game makes you feel. Because video games are like, a lot of video games are like stories. They're like, it's like watching a movie, or like, we're playing Baldur's Gate right now, and that is like cinematic as fuck. It's also like D&D because you're role playing, and so you start to empathize with the characters too. So many like games in their various media forms like have like for years always impacted me in that way. Mega Man, I'll have a whole episode on video games at some point, but like I think that's just the style of YouTube that I like gravitated to, which I think is so funny. No face cams. And so you're just seeing like the gameplay from the video or in the videos and stuff. And back in the day, their videos were like 10 minutes long. I remember when the links on these videos were so short. And so then like these parts of these series would be like 200 episodes. And I'm like, someone has uploaded 200 episodes to YouTube. It's crazy. I will also say controversy free. My first YouTuber that I feel like I attached myself to, in terms of like viewership, like has not been canceled by any means. I think, of course, if you went back and heard some of like the anecdotes or whatever, you'd be like, those are like the best. But video games, and of course that like opened my eyes to like so many other YouTubers that like have become my favorites, that I like revisit. One of my favorite ones that like I heard about, I'd watched Chugga Conroy, and then I was watching some Lucagen, who is like this older woman. She's like red hair. She always like calls herself kind of like your YouTube your older sister that's plays games on YouTube. And she has done some of the funniest fucking like series. She's done Barbie Horse Adventure. And it is so silly. She is just like really funny because she's kind of like bad at these games. She does blind playthroughs too. I never known what a blind playthrough was, but it's like where you're just going. You've never played the game before, and you're experiencing it on camera with the audience for the same time, which sounds fun. I think.
The Game Grumps, they did Barbie Horse Adventure, and that's another like YouTube duo that I've watched. For forever. And I mean, they still don't do like face cam or anything. Well, like 4 years ago, they made a separate channel, and it's called 10-Minute Power Hour. And that's just like them doing like activities and stuff. And that's kind of like their
where you can see them live.
You see their face, and they have like a little studio. They've been like, I think it was like pre-COVID more so, that they went out and like actually did activities. Like they did jousting, I think. I don't know, just like buying like random costumes type stuff. But
that's so fun. And I think it's so interesting because it kind of like YouTube has like always kind of been that platform that I think it has like so many different genres on it. Cause like, gamer, let's play YouTube is like on one end. And then there's like beauty guru, MUAs, like all that stuff. And now there's like drag queens content everywhere. Then there's like corporate sponsored things that are on YouTube now too, like the Netflix stuff. It's just like really, really evolved as a platform. But back in the day, like kind of the time we're talking about specifically, it was like people with the know-how that wanted to upload their shit and were just putting it on the internet for people to see.
Yeah.
And they're still doing, I mean, the people that we talked about in our favorite memories are like people that are still doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's what we're hoping to do with this podcast is get started on doing something for a really long time. A well attended to passion.
Yeah.
I think that those people have like made it their livelihood, which is exciting and awesome. And
well, I mean, like even like creators that have like blossomed into more than just like YouTube, like Troye Sivan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was such a Troye Sivan stan.
People talk about him early YouTube. I was not there for his early YouTube days.
He was like friends with like Connor Franta and like Tyler Oakley and like
really,
yeah, and like and the British YouTubers like Josa, Casperly, like all of them.
Wow, okay.
And so being like
Dan and Phil too.
Yes. Well, actually, I don't know if him and Dan and Phil were like a thing, but I was a big Dan and Phil.
I was like, Dan and Phil were a thing, for sure.
I was obsessed with Dan and Phil, like the merch, everything. It was a low point in my life, but yeah. And now he's like, I want to say like becoming one of like the biggest pop stars.
Absolutely.
And it's like I don't know. I feel like a proud person, even though I've never met them.
I've been there since the beginning.
Yeah,
that's absolutely the energy that I love to carry forth to my YouTubers. Because like, if I think about it too, I've not seen like any YouTubers in person before.
Yeah.
Versus like my pop divas where like, I will go to a concert and stuff because that's the time to see them. But yeah, like a lot of the YouTubers that I like grew up like to like kind of later on, like in high school and college and stuff. There were like the content shifted where I was like, then I was watching things like Funhouse and Rooster Teeth, which is like still gaming but comedy.
Yeah.
And like they are like full face. I mean that they like produce like a whole show and it's funny and it's short and it's daily. It's kind of sketch comedy style.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I'm trying to think of the other genres I like divulged into other than that. But I almost always had to do with gaming. I've associated YouTube with gaming for like a really, really long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our favorites, which is exciting. We loved getting into like these people that we still kind of revere in a way. I think it's cool to kind of recognize that.
Yeah.
And now's where we take a turn. Because and I spend the whole time filling all this time beforehand thinking about my least favorite, and it's hard because I think it's your least favorite things are things that you block out. Like I feel like it's like the first thing on the chopping block in your memory. What's the shit that like it's not necessarily have to traumatize you or anything like that, but just like makes you feel icky about like the topic. And I think I'm happy to go first just to kind of like set us on a ground because I do think that I've thought of something in particular.
No.
It's kind of like not specific, but I think my like worst memories related to YouTube are gonna be like so I'm gonna get comfortable for this because I gotta buckle in. But as a fledgling young gay person, I think that there were things that I was wanting to see, like, I was just wanting to like experience, or like see what it looked like. And like back in the day, there were like the community guidelines for what could be on YouTube were like very, very
slim.
Yeah. Slim to none. It was like a creator-based thing, and like a community team is so small. So many things just like made it up on the platform.
Yeah,
that probably shouldn't have. And I think that for me in like retrospect, like the things that probably shouldn't have were some of the things that like I ended up consuming somehow.
Yeah.
And I would say like not to no fault of my own. Like, of course I like sought it out or in some way, shape or form. But I think specifically that what I'm kind of getting at is like when I was a little kid, like probably like earliest days, like 10, 11 and 12, like I would like I think one of the first places I ever looked to like watch anything gay was like on YouTube. And of course, there's like the search bar would have said like boys kissing or like men kissing or whatever. And, I think I'd say that's my worst because like that is so not a way to blossom into your sexuality. I don't feel like there's no context to it.
Yeah.
There's just like this image being portrayed with like, you're watching it in secret, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of like created this weird dynamic in my own like image of myself where it was something to be like ashamed of. And so I kind of associated like, okay, well, like when I look at gay things, like I should be secretive about it or whatever. And I don't think that I don't know if I can blame like YouTube for this, but like the availability of the content is like kind of associated to the issue here.
I feel like they definitely have like cracked down on like that extremely though. And like they have like a whole like kids section, and I mean like they kind of definitely make it up to the parents, like your choice to block your children from seeing inappropriate things.
Well, and we're talking also like early days of like all of this even being a thing. So like I'm not even blaming my mom for like not knowing what I was watching or whatever, because she wouldn't have in her wildest dreams basically thought that like there is available like probably sexually explicit content on a platform that is like something kids had access to. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy to think about.
My mom, she was like hesitant, to like let me like be on YouTube and stuff, but when I'm like this is what I'm watching, like it's literally nothing, she's like okay. And then I remember like she wouldn't ever let me make a YouTube account, like I just had to watch it, like signed out, whatever. And I think I was like, I don't know, it's before I got an iPhone, like so 6th or 7th grade. I was like, can I make a YouTube account? And she's like, can you talk to strangers on that? Like, how does that work? And I'm like, I just want it so I could like videos, you know? And
then find them again, basically, too. Yeah,
literally. And so like she's like, okay, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But like, I mean, besides like the like gory stuff, and I don't think I was ever really like, I probably like girls, whatever, that type of thing. But I think like everybody has that curiosity at some point, especially growing up and figuring out what you want. So.
I think it just like triggered me to explore like outside of that app too, and to like way more things than I was ready to like handle as a child. And that's like the problem. Like, I think about it to this day, like when you're pull up your videos to watch or whatever, like it is so easy to just click the stuff. I'm 18 or older. Literally. Like that's the only barrier. Like, I mean, I'm sure that I guess parents and people that like want to censor the content like from children like have all of the tools in their arsenal to do that, but it's a lot, and I just don't know. I don't envy any parent out there having to like make this decision for their like growing up kid.
And I mean like internet is like so widely accessible now. Like even if a parent were to be like, I don't know, like put parental controls on it, I feel like kids are so smart. Like,
they find their way around it.
Figure out like how to avoid that.
And I think that's why like I don't blame like anybody in this situation, like even myself, because like there's a lot of shouldn'ts, but there's also like a lot of things that I don't think like ruined who I was as a person. Like I'm still. I think it just like warped a little bit of like my own sense of self when it came to like understanding my sexuality, which was something I had to like very soon in the years to come like unlearn, like that I could not associate like my sexuality with shame, because like it's kind of in a lot of ways the opposite of like pride. You want to be proud of like being gay. I want to be proud of being like who I am, things like that. And because I was like consuming the content in like this way that felt secretive and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think it was something I did a lot, but like even just like the few times that it did happen, it kind of did reinforce that. So
Yeah.
I would say that's my like worst memory related to it. I think some sub worst ones would probably be just like more towards the end of like this, like what we're considering early YouTube. Like this was when some of my favorites were starting to get canceled for things. And so even the exposure of like, you know, me as a kid, like hearing about someone that I like, you know, in some way revered, doing something shitty to someone else that like either watched their videos, was a fan of theirs, like involved in their life personally, like hearing shit that is bad. Like, I don't know. There's so many people out there that have done crazy things, and like with those people that put it on YouTube, we've all been there to see it. Yeah. And it's interesting to think about that kind of in like our 2023 like creator, like influencer and things like that world that we live in. You know, everything can be out there for everyone, and you can change as a person. You just don't want to you don't want to have like your skeletons brought up, and you also don't want to do shitty things, so it will come to light, like in so many ways. So anyways, that's kind of where I go to when I think about like things that affected me in a way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like something that like majorly affected you, but like I would say those are like my least favorite memories related to that.
Yeah, I don't really think like there's anything, you know, that I watched I was like, oh, I like regret that or anything. But like definitely I would say supporting, you know, now shitty people.
Yes.
So like Shane Dawson specifically.
Let's talk about Shane Dawson.
I never watched Shane Dawson as a kid until like the past few years when he was making those like longer documentaries, those
docu-series, literally
those ghost hunting videos. And I was like, oh my God, like these are entertaining. Like this is like well produced. Him and like this, what was it, like the Spooky Boys videos, him, Garrett, and Drew. Those were so funny. And then when he did like videos with Trisha, I would watch some of those.
Okay, with Trisha.
literally. And then he like got canceled, and like all these clips of his like old stuff was resurfacing, and I was like, I had no clue that he was like.
And the Jeffree Star stuff, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't even like a Jeffree Star fan. I only like watched it because of that, but then like
those two like pulled each other out of obscurity and a little bit, or I would say like out of infamy in some ways.
And then like their clips resurfacing and like stuff that like Shane would say and post, and I was like, that's really crazy that like I was like really into this person, and the
Shaquita stuff. I think that was like his
and like just like I feel like just like such terrible opinions and racist things towards all minorities and groups, and I'm like, oh, and like people are like, oh, it was like the early 2000s, it's different. I'm like, it's really not though. Like
it's so
racism
hard.
Is racism.
I think that's exactly right. Gosh, that I have like some sympathy for that, but I don't think that white people should be telling other white people that like that's the past, is that it was a different time. You can own it and acknowledge it and then potentially move on, but like don't just attribute it to like a sign of the times type of thing. Like own your shit basically when it comes to like being overtly offensive.
He kept most of it up until he got canceled.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's like
still got to make money.
I know it's like okay, well if you're so aware that like
all the hate watching too.
If you're so aware that this was wrong, you know, like I don't know. That's kind of just like that was like my first thought. And the other thing, I guess, like what makes me sad more so is like Jenna Marbles. We miss her. she needs to make a comeback.
She definitely was an early YouTuber for me. I remember seeing quite a few of her
and
videos.
I watched her up until she said I'm done.
She said
literally, and I was like, oh, she'll come back in like a month. And it's been like what 4 years or something.
Oh my gosh, it's been that long. She left in 2019.
Yeah, it's been a while. She as soon as Shane Dawson got canceled, she's like, I have also made shitty videos, and I am sorry, and I just don't think the internet is for me anymore. And just like dipped. But I still watch her now husband Julian. He's a Twitch streamer. And I watch his Twitch videos every Friday.
That is so
They
funny.
are my favorite. Him and it's called Jario.
Okay.
It's him and 3 other Twitch streamers, and they like play Mario Party.
Oh, that's so
That's
fun.
why I'm so good at Mario Party, because I've learned from them. I'm not even kidding.
You literally learned the strats and have used them against us.
Literally. Like, I'm like, okay, so this is my secret skill. And they like play code names, which is like why I'm obsessed with code names. Because I never heard of it until I started watching them, and I was like, this is a board game. Let's buy it, and it's so fun.
Well, Funhouse and Rooster Teeth put me on to Jackbox games, so like we have
the internet to thank for everything.
Absolutely, and so many games they put me on to. Like I think the Jackbox thing is specifically like a good memory because like I did that. I've done that with so many groups in so many different places and so many different. It has like been a unity thing in so many ways.
Gartic Phone, the thing that we played on Naomi's birthday.
Yes.
They play that on Twitch sometime, and so I'm like, this would be such a fun gay group activity.
Yes,
and it was so fun when we played it.
Yes.
So.
Zach's mom.
Literally.
What did she draw? She drew like
Naomi drew a horse, and she was like, I don't see the image, so she wrote fart as her response. Yeah, it was really good.
Donna killed me with that. Okay, any final thoughts on like our worst memories? I think like we've talked about so many things that kind of are so related to I don't think these issues have gone away. And in some ways, like, you know, the content and the curation of like YouTube has gotten like more kid friendly, and I think more safeguards and stuff like that to like prevent you know, little gay kids like me forming bad self images of themselves.
Yeah.
But you know, when it comes to like our favorite creators, or you know, our favorites at the time, like being humans and making mistakes, and those mistakes being on the internet, and then them being crucified or redeemed multiple times, like that whole thing has like not changed at all.
Yeah.
It's still happening.
But I mean, I feel like people want to cancel people for like anything. You know?
It's crazy. I've now been a K-pop fan for as long as I have been, and like canceling means like canceling is like something that it's such a. It means a specific thing, but the severity of it is what's very, very various, I would say.
I'm like, I don't even know. I feel like there's like so many things that it's like people just get angry just to be angry.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes saying like, that's like not really necessary, but.
It feels like a public like decry for like holding some sort of power over it, to just be like, well, we can do this and tell everybody to do this. But I think it tends to break down with that, like the collective hate. And like, I don't know, time also just like is so fickle and removes our memories because new things happen, our lives go on. But sometimes there's some unforgivables. And I think that we've seen people's careers go up in shambles because of the way they portray themselves on the internet. And it's something to keep in mind, especially as I'm like starting out a little bit as like wanting to be on the internet more and wanting to be engaged in that community. How do you do it with like this new set of eyes?
I'm like, even as of like now, I think this was like a couple days ago, like SS Sniper Wolf and Jack's Films, like she went to Jack's Films' house and like doxed him and put it on her Instagram story and was like come outside and talk, because I guess he had been posting like a lot of videos of her, and she was like I'm just like, you're an adult, like you should just know like that's not okay.
Modeling behavior for their like very influenceable like hands. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the internet wild.
I think what's so funny is the internet definitely wild, and you can I think very accurately say that like YouTube is like a very real manifestation of so many sides of the internet, because it's like the talking heads for a lot of things. I mean, there are conservatives on YouTube that like never once do they get recommended to me. The algorithm protects me from that.
Literally.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, I'll see like clips on TikTok and I'm like,
who are these people?
I'm like, that's crazy.
And then you go to their page and they have like millions of subscribers. It's like there is something for everyone on there. And I think the times we're specifically talking about it, like, it was definitely influential on my life, and kind of the things that I'm still doing now, content that I still enjoy watching, is like, it all started when I was a kid. So
yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, we'll leave the YouTube conversation over here and kind of talk about a little bit of something that is more broad, and let's just consider everything. And I'd love to kind of like enter this state of recollection. And just go into like something that we wish we could remember. If there's anything that like from this conversation that like sparked other ideas of like, okay, well, like memory, I wish I knew what that was like more intimately or deeply. Like, is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Like anything specific, or just like?
I think when you take like the idea of memory, and you know, we've lived so much of our lives right now. If there was like a specific age or like a specific event that you're like, dang, I wish I remembered those things more clearly. Yeah, more clearly.
I just think like living in Washington.
Oh,
like moving here was so hard, you know? And I think about like my friends and all stuff all the time. And I just wish like I don't want to say take advantage of like being a kid or anything, but like was more like in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Went and hiked. Like the nature there is so crazy.
Put my adult brain in my kid body.
Literally. And I took advantage of just sitting in my house or going to my friend's house. Yeah. And, you know, I didn't move here until I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had, you know, I was at an age where I could go outside and, like, have fun. And I went back, I think, 2020, and I was, like, I had forgotten how pretty it was. I was, like, shocked. Like, I was like, wow.
Experiencing places, I think, like more vividly is absolutely something I would echo as like something I wish I could remember more of, because I have been like before I went to college, the only places that I had traveled was like Alaska, and like Florida. I would say Florida's not my favorite. I wouldn't say I'm like, oh, I want to remember what Florida was like, but Alaska, beautiful, beautiful state. I mean, the mountains and everything. Like, I wonder if like, if we ever get to this point in technology where I'm like able to like take my brain from a certain time and then compare it to like what it is now, I would be curious to see like what the mountains look like when and like age 8 to like age 28 or whatever. Like, can I see like a distinct difference between 20 years? I'm sure I could, because our world is changing so quickly. And I think that would be impactful to me, because it would like give me perspective and kind of, I don't know, maybe I'd take it poetically and be like, you know, we all change, even the mountains change. Like we all move, and we're moving towards something or away from something and towards a different direction. And I kind of find that stuff like impactful when it's things part of like the natural world and stuff. So I don't know. I would just, I share that.
Yeah. I definitely like often think like how my life would have gone if I stayed there versus having to come here. And it's like, cause these like completely opposite spectrums, you know, like extreme, like leftist state versus conservative.
Yeah.
You know, like, Naomi's my first lesbian relationship. And like, even going out with her and like holding hands on a Saturday night in downtown Tulsa, I'm like, it stresses me out a little bit, you know? And like, I know like in Washington, nobody would bat an eye. And if it was, it'd be like one man versus 50.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. The scale.
So yeah.
I think that's so interesting. I have a very similar like pivotal decision where it's like, what if I did this versus that? I made the decision to do that, but there's like literally this whole other lifetime that could have been, basically I could have had that life, and what would that have been like? I wouldn't be here, which is crazy because we are here.
I know. I'm like, I would have never met Naomi. So it's like, there is a plus to
absolutely
being here. So,
and it's kind of like a lesson, and it's not necessarily always greener, you know, like it's something we kind of,
you got to make it green.
Yeah, exactly. You got to water it. You got to fertilize it. All those things. We're taking the analogy all the way there. Lucy, we've talked about so many memories. I love this. So I guess just like kind of as we're wrapping up and stuff, we've definitely like recapped our memories. And, you know, do you feel like you, in this exercise of like taking a topic and splitting it by like the good and the bad and then like what we want to, has it kind of like did you remember things you didn't think you were going to remember, or was it kind of easy to come up with these things?
I mean, when you were talking about like early days of YouTube, like all of like those early things, like just started popping up immediately. Like Nyan Cat, like that popped up in my head. Yeah. Just like, I know Vine's not a part of YouTube, but Viners eventually became YouTubers.
Absolutely,
so like
absolutely.
All the random Vine clips started popping up. So yeah, things that I haven't thought about in, I'd say, months to years. Popped up all at once. So
yeah, specific people, specific faces, specific kind of like what you were doing around those moments too, like also came to mind. And so I think that's always kind of fun in this little exercise of doing this, like jumping into past lives in a way.
Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me. There we go.
There we go.
You got that, Amy. Thank you for indulging me. Okay, this is amazing. I think we are done with this episode, which I'm super excited that we did. This has been really fun. So. I'm so glad. Where, if anywhere, would you like people to learn more? Do you want people to know you, or do you want? How do you want to? No. You're Lucy Stevens, and that's it.
I'm Lucy Stevens. I'm me. My Instagram is private. My Facebook's pretty private. So I usually don't let people follow me unless I know them. So I'm my own person.
literally. You do have some art and some designs, and you're working on some things.
Yeah, potentially. Setting up booths, random spots in Tulsa. I've just moved into a house and been going through a lot of things the past few months. So I've only done it once, but I've kind of gotten it down, learned from my mistakes, and maybe you'll see me around Tulsa. And so
at a First Friday,
or a little flea market, something, selling bags, shirts, whatever. So yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Lucy, for being on this episode. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.